After my husband died in battle, only my younger brother-in-law and I remained to rely on each other for survival. Though he was mentally impaired, he possessed a handsome face and a tall, sturdy build. Beneath his thin clothes, his muscular frame was impossible to conceal. In my past life, confined to my secluded chamber, I could not control myself. Taking advantage of his foolishness, I coaxed him into committing every shameful act imaginable. Little did I know his apparent foolishness stemmed from poisoning, and he was not my husband's true younger brother, but rather the eldest prince, exiled among commoners. After regaining his memory and identity, his first act was to make meth shameless woman who ruined his reputation pay the price. A cup of poisoned wine sent me to the afterlife, reborn into this life. I dared not provoke this demon star again. I devoted myself solely to tending his daily needs, hoping that once his true identity was restored, he might remember our past and spare me. Yet, one night, my younger brother-in-law slipped into my bed and seized my hand. Sister-in-law, I'm uncomfortable. Rub me. Main text. The crown prince is soon to be designated as heir. The empress has already selected the legitimate daughter of the left chancellor as his principal consort. You, a widow, violated wifely duty, shameless and depraved. You seduced the crown prince while he lay poisoned and amnesiac. If this spreads, how will outsiders speak of the crown prince? The palace maid's voice still echoed in my ears. Poisoned wine seared through my gut. Burning fiercely, I screamed, jolting awake from my sleep. But the scene before me wasn't a dark, dreadful dungeon. It was the small courtyard of the Lee family home where ID lived as a widow for years. Confusion gripped me. Hadn't I been poisoned by the eunuch sent by the crown prince? How could I be here? Only when I felt the arms wrapped around my waist did I suddenly realize I had been reborn. Reborn before the great mistake had been committed. Gazing at my sleeping younger brother-in-law, Li Shu, the future crown prince Xiao Zishu, I frantically kicked him off the bed. The simpleton, sucking his thumb in his sleep, tumbled off the bed unexpectedly. His head smacked against the footstool with a thud. He opened his eyes, blinking his big, watery eyes. His little mouth puckered as if ready to cry. Why did you kick Ah Shu? Sister-in-law, Ah Shu hurts so much. Wah. In my past life, Li Shu had been abandoned among commoners at age 8 before being adopted by the Li family. Now he was merely 17, poisoned. His intellect had regressed to that of a 3-year-old. Yet I, craving his body, feigned cold feet to coax him into sharing my bed. I claimed my feet were freezing, and the fool tucked my jade-like feet into his embrace, letting my toes brush against his chest and abs. He knew nothing of love's pleasures, only gazing at me with clear, innocent eyes, whining like a child. Sister-in-law, Ah Shu feels so strange. Ah Shu feels so uncomfortable. And I would pin him beneath me, my hands roaming his bare chest, my breath warm and sweet against his ear. Where does it hurt? Tell sister-in-law, and shall help you. In my past life, I seduced him this very way, coaxing him time and again to do every shameless thing with me. The bedroom, the backyard, the kitchen, the hills behind the house, the fields, everywhere bore the traces of our pleasure. Foolish acts, utterly without restraint or moderation, leaving me weak in the knees every single day. My body had grown intensely sensitive, each touch like tiny insects crawling over me, an unbearable itch. Unable to bear it, I could only cling desperately to his neck, begging him to slow down. The past cannot be reclaimed. The burning sensation of poisoned wine still lingered within my body. Now, facing this living demon again, how could I dare entertain any romantic thoughts? I hurriedly pulled my clothes back on, eager to distance myself from him. Shu, my dear, it's all your auntie's fault. They'll take you back to your room to sleep now. Li Shu rubbed his sore head, puzzled. But didn't you say your feet were cold and asked me to warm them for you? I replied. They're fine now. I can warm them myself. It's getting late. You should go back soon. I pulled Li Shu up from the floor and pushed him out the door. ignoring his cries outside. I leaned against the door, pressed my hand over my wildly beating chest, and warned myself, Wang Qinghe, this time you must not make another mistake and become a tragic, wronged spirit, too in my past life. I married the eldest son of the Li family, yet on our wedding night, he was conscripted into military service, leaving only me and his 14-year-old younger brother, Li Shu, to rely on each other. Li Shu was mentally impaired, said to have suffered brain damage from a childhood burn. With the intellect of a 3-year-old. Fortunately, though his parents had passed away early, they left behind some modest property. I supported us through embroidery and farm rents. Barely scraping by with my simple-minded younger brother-in-law, I had believed that once my husband returned from the battlefield, our long-awaited happiness would finally arrive. Yet within 3 short years, news came that he had perished on the battlefield. At his funeral, I wept until I fainted. Relatives and neighbors all lamented my bitter fate, just 19. I was destined to live a lifetime as a widow. They urged me to care for my brother-in-law and promised help with any hardship. I nodded to each of them as I saw them off. But inside, I thought, easy for them to say they aren't the one living as a widow. So I embraced my husband's spirit tablet and coffin, drowning my sorrows in wine. The first half of the night, my mind was filled with memories of parting with my husband. By the second half of the night, drunk and reckless, I reached my sinful hands toward his simple-minded younger brother. Brother's debt, brother repays. What your elder brother owes me, you shall repay. You little rascal. Your sister-in-law has raised you for 3 years. It's time you showed some gratitude. Don't move. Be a good boy and let your sister-in-law hold you, or you won't get dinner. The simpleton brother struggled as I pinned him against the coffin lid. No, sister-in-law. This feels so strange. I tugged at his trousers while wrapping my arms around his neck and kissing him. What's so strange about it? Your brother is watching. He hasn't objected. My dead husband lay in the coffin, eyes tightly shut, expressionless. Now I realize he must have resented me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ended up poisoned in my past life. Seeing the village chief and the young men carry his coffin in, I wept as if my heart would break. Dalong, how could you die like this? How can I and our younger brother go on without you? Let me go with you instead. Others thought I grieved for my deceased husband, but little did they know I mourned my past life's misfortune. How could the man who shared my bed countless times grow so heartless after regaining his memories? It was as if the one who lay entwined with me beneath the mandarin duck canopy, keeping me company through the long nights, was not him at all. What's wrong with being a widow? When I married him, I was pure and untouched. Such thoughts stirred resentment within me. He seemed simple and foolish, but in truth, he was a faithless, heartless man. In the funeral hall, Li Shu saw my heartbroken tears and began wailing loudly too. When he caught my glare, he looked at me blankly. Sister-in-law, why are you staring at me? Naturally, I was thinking, rather than letting you poison me with a cup of poison later, I might as well pour it down your throat now, while your mind is still clouded, and send you to join your brother. But what came out instead was, now that your brother is gone, only we two remain in the Li household, uncle and sister-in-law. What will we do from now on? Wah. Though the fool was dim-witted, he had a knack for soothing words. Now that brother's gone, Ah Shu will take care of sister-in-law. Ah Shu will chop wood, fetch water, sweep the floors, and wash clothes for sister-in-law. Sister-in-law won't have to lift a finger. 3I. Wang Qinghe lost both parents in childhood and lived under others' roofs. Around 16, my heartless aunt sold me to the eldest son of the Li family for a dowry of 20 taels of silver. Yet my looks and figure were unmatched in the village. My aunt, haggling for the highest price, thus fulfilled the marriage of Li Daliang, who was famed for bringing misfortune to his family. In my past life, if not for Li Shu's handsome looks and obedient nature, chopping wood, fetching water, cooking, managing household chores with such precision, I never would have looked at him. A simpleton. Twice. Now I think about Edith's simpleton who lost his parents at 10, parted from his elder brother at 14, and lived with me, his sister-in-law, who taught him these things. The way he swung that axe to chop wood, clearly he possessed martial arts skills. How could he resemble an ordinary peasant man? Moreover, he wasn't actually feverish. It was poisoning that made him appear foolish and dim-witted, causing him to lose his memory. So how? Right under my nose. Was the poison neutralized? And how did he regain his memory and identity? Could it be someone from the palace found him long ago? To avoid alerting the enemy, they secretly aided him. These thoughts sent a chill through my entire body. Looking at the mourners at the funeral, each one seemed suspicious. I immediately dismissed any harmful thoughts, resolving only to live with him as ordinary uncle and niece, determined not to repeat the mistakes of my past life. Erlang, don't be sad. Even if brother is gone, you still have your sister-in-law. She'll treat you like her own little brother. Li Shu sniffled, his voice thick with childish innocence. Really? Sister-in-law? Then can I sleep with you tonight? Ah Shu is scared sleeping alone. Startled, I hurriedly covered his mouth. What nonsense are you spouting? Fortunately, today's guests were numerous. Virtually every relative and acquaintance from the village had gathered. The courtyard buzzed with chatter, drowning out his words. Otherwise, Li Shu's earlier remark alone could have prompted the clan elders to seize me and sacrifice me alongside Li Daliang. Li Shu, unaware of his slip, stared at me with wide, innocent eyes. To cover it up, I whispered soothing words to him. Ah Shu, don't cry. It's not time to eat yet. Just kneel quietly and keep vigil for your brother. Don't talk. Later, when it's time, your sister-in-law will give Ah Shu a chicken leg. Okay. Li Shu had been about to ask why I was covering his mouth for no reason, but the promise of a chicken leg made him forget everything. He clapped his hands excitedly. Yes. Ah Shu wants a chicken leg. Ah Shu is good. Ah Shu won't make noise. I patted his head. Good boy. Ah Shu. But inside, I cursed silently. You bastard. So heartless and ungrateful in your past life. Now you know how to put on a show. That night, after finally seeing off the mourners, I closed the courtyard gate, intending to reheat the food for Li Shu and me to eat. Li Shu suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist from behind, slamming me against the old elm door with a thud. His scorching breath mingled with his deep, magnetic voice exploded against my ear. Wang Qinghe, how could you be so heartless? Years of affection, you just discarded it like trash, abandoning me like this. In your eyes, am I really less than a dead person? Hearing this, a chill shot straight up my spine from the soles of my feet. Li Shu, what did you just call me? For in my past life, I raised Li Shu from 14 to 17. I knew his temperament inside out. A simpleton beyond simpletons, yet so sweet it tugged at your heartstrings. But now, the aura emanating from the figure behind me was dark and overbearing, suffocatingly oppressive, via stark contrast to the clumsy boy from earlier. Moreover, that boy had always addressed me only as sister-in-law. The only one who would ever call me by my full name was Xiao Zisha, that unapproachable crown prince. But I had clearly been reborn. This lifetime hadn't even seen me commit any grave mistakes yet. Why was he acting like this? Could it be he had been reborn too? The thought flashed through my mind, sending shivers down my spine. Memories of poisoned wine coursing through my veins and my past life replayed in my mind. No, I couldn't repeat that mistake. I couldn't die. Though terror gripped my heart, my face wore a feigned expression of anger. I snapped. What, Wang Qinghe? Do you dare address my sister-in-law by her noble name? You brat. Where did you pick up such foul language in broad daylight? How dare you speak to your elder sister like this? What kind of upbringing did I give you? Then I unleashed a barrage of punches on him. Li Shu was dazed after taking a few hits. You dare strike this prince? That single title confirmed if this man had reincarnated just like me. In my past life, he was only granted the title of prince after returning to the palace. A year later, he was crowned crown prince. I died just before his coronation ceremony. The thought of him not only betraying me to marry another but also poisoning me with wine filled me with seething hatred. I grabbed the broom nearby and swung it at him. What, your highness? I could be the queen mother. Your brother is gone. I am your only kin. An elder sister-in-law is like a mother. You should honor me as you would your own mother. How dare you lay a hand on me? What manner of behavior is this? You. Stop it. Ah. Sister-in-law. Don't hit me. Ow. That hurts. At first. Li Shu still tried to lord his status over me. Seeing I was truly hitting him hard, he flew into a rage and tried to grab my hand. Wang Qinghe. Have you gone mad? What sister-in-law and younger brother nonsense? I am your husband. If he hadn't said that, it would have been fine. But the moment he uttered those words, I grew even angrier. In my past life, after he regained his status as the eldest prince, he brought me to the capital. Publicly, he claimed I was his benefactor, that he had nurtured me. He pitied my youth and widowhood and my lonely origins. So he took me into the prince's mansion, behind closed doors. However, he spent every night in my chambers, engaging in every act of marital intimacy. Back then, I was bewitched by his body. How could I have imagined what the future held? I simply assumed he had his reasons for not granting me a proper status. I never argued or made a fuss, obediently waiting for him in the mansion each day. Who could have imagined that what awaited me would be a cup of poisoned wine? The more I thought about it, the angrier I grew, and I slapped him twice across the face. What husband? The one lying in that coffin at the memorial halt. That's your husband. What kind of thing are you? In my past life, I treated Li Shu with utmost kindness, tender and considerate, yielding to his every whim. Had he ever endured such humiliation? His eyes widened in disbelief as he stared at me. Li Shu's eyes were mesmerizing almond-shaped peach blossoms. When they brimmed with tears and sorrow, they could melt anyone's heart. You hit me. You actually hit me. Adorable. I made him lose his composure. Truthfully, if not for that cup of poison, most of our time together had been pleasant. But a murderous grudge couldn't be forgiven so easily. I glared back immediately. What are you staring at? Keep looking and I'll hit you again. The next second, Li Shu suddenly bent down, hoisted me onto his shoulder, and strode toward the house. You hit me. Huh. Then this prince will show you who's stronger. 5. Li Shu carried me straight into the house. I clung to his shoulder and struggled fiercely. Li Shu, what are you doing? Put me down. Li Shu whispered into my ear. His teeth gritted. Keep screaming, and you'll wake the whole neighborhood, so they can see how this younger brother-in-law bullies his widowed sister-in-law. Then we'll see who ends up with no face. My eyes burned with fury. You're insane. You have no shame. Li Shu sneered coldly. When I was out of my mind, you were the one seducing me day after day, using every seductive trick in the book. Now I've given you my body and my heart, and you dare call me shameless. That was in a past life. It has nothing to do with this one. Stop talking nonsense. When did I ever take your body? As he spoke, Li Shu had already hoisted me back into the room, tossed me onto the bed, and leaned down to peck my lips. It's not too late to take it now. That kiss sent shivers down my spine. What the hell is this guy playing at? In my past life, had been poisoned and lost his memory. That's how I tricked him into giving me his body. But now, with his mind fully clear, he's actually crawling into my bed on his own. Am I the one who's gone mad? Or is he? As if sensing my confusion, Li Shu's eyes flashed with a hint of resentment. Standing before the bed, he began undressing himself. A lean yet muscular physique appeared before me. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, 8-pack abs, and a defined line disappearing beneath his waistband. It made my mouth go dry for no reason, leaving me mesmerized. Sis. Look at me. That single word, sis, sent shivers down my spine. In my past life, Li Shu would always call me sis during the most passionate moments. Gazing at those massive pectorals before me, I didn't just want to look, I wanted to touch. In my past life, my favorite thing was pinching his chest muscles. Li Shu's pecs were huge and springy, so satisfying to squeeze. Ahem. But right now, I was a newly widowed sister-in-law observing morning rites, raising my mentally challenged younger brother-in-law alone. How could I possibly do such a thing to him? Shame and fury overwhelmed me as I shut my eyes. What are you doing? Put your clothes back on. If someone sees us, there'll be no explaining it. Li Shu grabbed my hand and pressed it against his chest. Sister, pinch me. Why aren't you pinching? You used to love pinching me. I also loved it when you bit me. Will you bite me again? I tried to pull away, but he held my hand firmly in place. Memories of my past life flooded my mind, and my hand squeezed involuntarily. Realizing what I'd done, I pushed him away in terror. Stop touching me. What's gotten into you today, you little brat? First you call yourself your highness, then you call me sister. Could it be your illness has worsened, making you talk nonsense? After saying that, he even pressed the back of his hand against my forehead. You don't even have a fever. Seeing my stubborn denial, Li Shu's eyes darkened abruptly. Wang Qinghe, are you still going to play dumb? Your reaction when you pinched me just now was exactly the same as before. In this life, am still pure. When could before possibly refer to? Only my past life. This bastard not only reincarnated like me, but the moment he did, he clung to me like a ghost. Then I absolutely cannot admit it. Wasn't it this very man who devoured me whole last lifetime, only to grant me death with a cup of poison? The poor boy knows nothing. Guilt weighs on my heart. So I naturally give him a bit of kindness. But if it were Xiao Zishu, why the hell would I be polite to him? Li Shu, your brother has just died, and you dare bully your widowed sister-in-law. Don't you fear his spirit in heaven will haunt you? Heaven's justice is clear. Its wrath terrifying. Be wary, a bolt of lightning might strike you down. Seeing my stubborn refusal to admit it, Li Shu's eyes reddened. After all this, you still won't acknowledge me, Wang Qinghe. How can you be so heartless? Has your conscience been devoured by dogs? Hearing this, my anger boiled over. Who exactly is the heartless dog? True, I took possession of his body, but I also cared for him for 3 years, fed him, clothed him, tended to his every need. If you no longer wish to be with me, simply give me some silver and send me far away. Why must you threaten my life? Who truly has a heart of a wolf and the conscience of a dog, striking at his own brother's wife? Have you forgotten how your brother treated you in the past? No. I see you've truly lost your mind. I'd better find a doctor to examine you. With that, I scrambled off the bed, ready to bolt out the door. Li Shu seemed amused by my fury, a mocking smile curling his lips. With a single swift motion, he swept me around by the waist and pulled me back, landing on the soft mattress. I tumbled in a dizzying whirl. The next moment, Li Shu undid the sash around his waist and bound my hands, suspending them from the headboard. Since you refuse to be good, don't blame me. His scorching breath brushed my neck, sending a shiver through my body. You wicked creature. What do you think you're doing? Li Shu lowered his head, his high nose gently grazing my neck. Bite you? His tone carried a mix of reproach and playful petulance. His lips and tongue lingered inch by inch across my skin, leaving trails of silver foam and traces that made me blush with frustration. If you want, acknowledge me. I'll bite until you do. Sister, admit it, you like this too, don't you? Say it. Say you want me. You want me too, don't you? His whispers in my ear and his unbearably tantalizing touches made me inwardly curse. In our past life, he was ruthless in bed. No matter how hard I tried, I could never coax a single genuine word from him. Yet I loved teasing him. When he couldn't bear it anymore, he'd call me reckless and punish me harshly. How could? In this new life, he seemed like a completely different person. Noticing my distraction, he bit down hard on my sensitive spot. Sister, you're not paying attention. In my bed. Are you still thinking about brother? I was so angry I shouted. This is my bed. And move away. Keep this up. And I'll get angry. Li Shu raised his finger, the tip coated in sticky silver threads, a sight too shameful to behold. Sister. This doesn't look like anger. It looks like desire. With that, he leaned down and pinned me, murmuring softly, say it. Say you love me. Say you missed me too. 7 Gazing at the man before me who stirred my heart and mind, I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. I had loved before. But it cost me my life. How could I dare to love again? Gritting my teeth, I forced myself to resist the stirrings within, feigning coldness. If you want to do this, just do it. Why all the nonsense? Just one thin if you truly disregard propriety. I will report you to the clan chief. Li Shu didn't grow angry upon hearing this. Instead, he laughed. He pulled me closer still. Sister, you're always so cunning. You clearly want this yourself. Yet you refuse to say a single kind word. I'll make sure you don't get your way. If you want say you love me, well, just keep stalling. Don't think you can boss me around, sister, just to satisfy yourself. When did this boy become so mischievous? I cursed loudly, kicking him to make him roll off me, but Li Shu seemed to have found a way to manipulate me, relentlessly stoking the fire within me. He's changed. He's changed. He wasn't like this before. In my past life, he was like dry kindling easily ignited. After all this time, he actually managed to hold back. It was infuriating. His teasing had pushed me to the brink. My voice trembling with tears. You bastard. Ah Shu. Please spare your sister-in-law. Li Shu watched my pitiful tears, lifted my chin, and leaned down to kiss the hot droplets from my eyes. Sister, you're so delicate. Yet when you left me, you were so ruthless. Very well. Consider it a debt I owe you. Kiss me, and I'll stop tormenting you. Reason screamed. Don't kiss him. This man was so cunning if I kissed him. Who knew what new tricks had used to toy with me? But this body, already tasted the sweetness in a past life, had been shaped by his teasing into the perfect vessel for pleasure. How could I resist his repeated temptations? I could only arch my back, tilt my head back, and tremble as I offered him a kiss. But that rascal actually toyed with me, just as my lips were about to touch his chin. He suddenly dodged, leaving me lunging at thin air. Furious, I kicked him square in the chest. Li Shu chuckled, raising his hand to undo the belt around my waist. Don't be angry, sister. I just think you look so adorable like this. Here you go. Here you go. I couldn't let my dear sister go hungry. That night, Li Shu and I clung to each other as if it were our last. We competed fiercely, wouldn't admit exhaustion, and I wouldn't beg for mercy. Li Shu maneuvered me into countless positions. I just love you like this. Sister, so greedy. If only you could be more open. I scratched bloody marks across his back and shoulders, biting his ear as I gritted my teeth. Enough talk. You're the one who teased me like this. Don't try to deny it later. Li Shu, how could I deny it? If you're willing to cherish me, I'd gladly give you my life. Sister, will you come back to the capital with me? I'll petition father and mother to make you my consort. Li Shu's words sent a chill through me. The ripples stirring in my heart instantly turned to cold sweat. In my past life, it was precisely because I followed him to the capital that I met my untimely end. The one who brought me the poison wine was sent by that lofty empress herself. Even when I stayed quietly within the mansion, she wouldn't let me live. If she found out Li Shu wanted to make me his consort, Would I have any chance of survival? No. Come morning, I must pack my belongings and flee. 8 After a night of worry, Li Shu and I fell asleep in each other's arms, having resolved to flee. I no longer resisted him. I showered him with sweet nothings until his lips curled into an uncontrollable smile. Even if I die in your arms, I'd do it gladly. Hurry up already. You're asleep. But I still have to make my escape. My back, legs, and arms every inch ached. Finally, when he calmed down, I was too exhausted to lift my eyelids. Only the crowing of roosters outside jolted me awake. I instinctively pushed away Li Shu's arm wrapped around me, just as I tried to slip out quietly. But Li Shu beside me stirred. He sat up, rubbing his eyes, looking utterly confused. Sis-in-law. How did I end up here? I stared at him, my heart pounding with shock and doubt. A question mark slowly formed above my head. Seeing me frozen in place, Li Shu reached out to grab my hand. Sis-in-law. I'm hungry. Sis. Make me something yummy. You promised. You said if I was good, you'd make me something yummy. I looked into his eyes, clear and innocent, smiling with a silly, childlike charm. Where was yesterday's aggressive aura? I tentatively asked. Don't you remember anything from yesterday? Li Shu scratched his head. Remember what? He looked at himself, then at me. Sis. Why am I not wearing any clothes? Why aren't you wearing any clothes either? Great. He's gone blank again. His utterly clueless expression made it seem like last night's events were merely my hallucination, never having happened at all. But the marks on his body and the discomfort in his private parts couldn't be faked. That left only one possibility. The Li Shu from last night and the Li Shu before me now were not the same person. He was Xiao Zishu, reborn just like me. The one before me now was the poisoned, dazed Li Shu. Though I'd been in a hurry to flee, seeing Li Shu like this, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If it had been Xiao Zishu, there was no way I could have escaped. But this fool Li Shu, once I've handled Daliang's funeral arrangements, "I'll get out of here," I immediately said. It was stifling last night. You must have taken them off yourself. Then I kicked him with my foot. How old are you? Still clinging to your sister-in-law's bed. I've told you before, sneaking into my bed. Out. Out. If you want to eat, light the stove first. I still need to wash up. Wait outside. The silly boy was so obedient, doing exactly as told. He slipped on his clothes and pants and left. Hurry up. Sister-in-law. Ah Shu. Ah Shu will start the fire. Watching Li Shu's retreating figure, I patted my chest to steady my racing heart, then bowed toward the funeral hall next door. Daliang. I was your legally wedded wife. You may have heartlessly abandoned me, but from beyond the grave, you must protect me. Once Li Dalong's coffin was lowered into the grave, I left the Li household. From then on, we were worlds apart. Li Shu and I had nothing more to do with each other. Let him be a prince, a duke, or even the crown prince. I couldn't care less. Resolved, I freshened up and headed out to warm the fool's meal. After taking a few steps, however, I felt a sharp, stabbing pain. I couldn't help but curse Xiao Zishu in my mind once more, and I made a silent vow. If he ever tries to mess with me again, he won't get away with it. 9 For the next few days, Li Shu remained in a dazed and foolish state. It was as if the Xiao Zishu from that night had been nothing more than a fleeting apparition. At first, I was on edge, terrified he might snap back at any moment. But days passed, and he remained unchanged. Only then did I relax. Once Li Daliang's coffin was lowered into the grave, I made excuses to visit my parents' home. Ah Shu. I need to return to my parents' place for something. There's food left in the pot, and these steamed buns will last you 10 days or even half a month. While I'm gone, you must be a good boy. Lock the doors and windows, and don't open the door for strangers. Understand? Li Shu's bright eyes fixed on me, and for a moment, He seemed dazed. Then he obediently nodded. Go ahead. Sister-in-law. I'll be a good boy and wait for you at home. Such a good boy. My heart ached as I ruffled his hair. After taking a few steps, I heard Li Shu call out behind me. Sister-in-law. You'll come back, right? You won't just leave me like brother and father and mother did, right? Me. Yes. Yeah. Right. If I stay by your side any longer, I'll lose my life. From this day forward, our ties are severed. We are no longer connected. I hoisted my bundle and walked out without looking back. Once outside the village, I had no idea where to go. Orphaned at a young age. My uncle and aunt seized our family fields and ancestral property under the pretense of guardianship, forcing me to live as a dependent. At 16, they married me off to the eldest son of the Li family for a mere 20 taels of silver. My dowry amounted to nothing more than a few sets of clothes and quilts. Fortunately, Li Daliang cherished me for who I was and didn't mind. Looking back now, when I first met Daliang, we were mutually fond of each other. He truly was a very, very good man. Alas, fate is cruel. In both past and present lives, he and I were never destined to be true husband and wife. All I can do is spend the compensation money he received after his death in battle wisely, live a decent life, and not betray his deep affection. Yes, when I left, I took Li Daliang's entire 100 taels of compensation with me. Not a single coin was left for that foolish shoe. Soon enough, the subordinates who knew his true origins would come looking for him. Once the poison in his body was purged and his senses restored, what riches and honors would he lack? Lost in these thoughts, I found myself walking to Daliang's grave, where I drank myself into a drunken stupor before his tombstone. Dalong, my dear Dalong, though I, Wang Qinghe, have wronged you, you remain the only husband my heart recognizes. If there is a next life, come sooner, I will marry you again, and we shall be true husband and wife. After this flask, they'll depart to a place no one can find. To hell with the crown prince. To hell with his royal highness. I couldn't care less. Later, I drifted into a hazy sleep. I felt someone drape a cloak over me and lift me horizontally. In my dream, I murmured, Dalong. The person holding me paused slightly, tightening the grip around my waist. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Li Shu. No. Xiao Zishu's grim, stern face. Sister-in-law, awake. Weren't you visiting your parents? How did you end up sleeping at my elder brother's grave? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. How did he turn back into this person again? My heart raced with panic, but my face feigned anger. I am your sister-in-law, yet you did things to me worse than a beast. How could I possibly stay in the Li family? Your brother is dead. I have no ties left to the Li family. Let me go, or I'll scream. ID never admitted to him that I was reborn. Everything had accused me of was nothing but slander. Hearing my words, Xiao Zishu laughed bitterly. So it seems my heartfelt words from the other day were wasted on a dog. Wang Qinghe, you truly are a heartless woman. With that, he leaned in, pinned me down, lifted my chin, and brushed his lips gently along my neck. Your body is so soft, yet your heart is so hard. You think you can leave me? Think again. I've already informed the clan elders I intend to marry you. Brother succeeding brother isn't without precedent. The clan has given its consent. 3 days hence, on an auspicious day, shall be the day of our wedding. Hearing this, I froze completely. What did you say? The clan chief. How could he possibly agree to such a thing? As they spoke, a crisp, cool voice drifted in from outside. My lord, all arrangements for the wedding have been finalized. Are you truly intending to wed Lady Wang? This was Shin Chong, the highly skilled guard who had served by Xiao Zishu's side when he was in fact as Prince Qing in his previous life. Had he already reclaimed his identity? Xiao Zishu's voice was stern and cold. Mind your own business. I wish to hear not another word of nonsense from you. My heart raced with shock and doubt, yet I dared not show it. Instead, I feigned panic. He. Who is he? Why is he in our home? And why does he call you my lord? Ah Shu. Who are you really? Xiao Zishu pinned me down, his cold laughter cutting through the air. You enjoy playing games, sister. Then Ah Shu will play along with you to the end. For the next 3 days. You won't be leaving this room. Just wait obediently for the wedding in 3 days. That bastard trapped me in the room, demanding my body day and night without end, wearing me out until my back nearly broke. But no matter how much I begged, he wouldn't let me go. Several times, I thought I'd die beneath him. Good man, please spare me. Rest a while. Aren't you tired? Ah Shu. I'm so sleepy. I just want to sleep. But that bastard was like a crazed beast, refusing to sleep for 3 days and nights straight. Finally, I coaxed him into quieting down, but his hands were like iron bands, gripping me tightly as he leaned into my embrace and whispered, "Sister, you won't run away while I'm asleep, will you? Tomorrow is our wedding day. After that, we'll be true husband and wife. Will you love me as much as you loved my elder brother? Will you truly regard me as your husband?" Me. You bet. Go to sleep now. Your men have locked all the doors and windows. Even if I wanted to escape, where could I possibly go? This life. I can only marry you. Hearing this, Xiao Zishu curved her lips into a sweet smile and fell asleep on top of me. Only after she was sound asleep did I pluck up the courage to kick her off me. The next second, a dazed voice echoed, "Sister-in-law, have you returned from your parents' home? Why am I sleeping in your bed again? And why are we naked? Keys. Turned back again." No wonder Xiao Zishu hadn't slept a wink these past 3 days at most. He'd just close his eyes to rest. He knew that once he slept, he'd revert to being the simpleton Li Shu. Looking at the harmless-looking Li Shu before me, I hurriedly said, "Nothing. Don't worry about it. Ah Shu, could you do your sister-in-law a favor? There's a bad man outside. He locked the door and won't let your sister-in-law out. But your sister-in-law needs to make something delicious for Ah Shu. Pretend you're a prince now, just like in the operas I took you to see. Be commanding. Don't show weakness. Make them open the door. But you can only say one thing. Don't give yourself away. Understand?" At the mention of me making him something delicious, Li Shu immediately agreed sweetly. "Okay." He promptly walked to the door and called out in a deep voice, "Open the door." Outside, Qin Chong heard this and asked, somewhat puzzled, "Master, didn't you say we wouldn't open the door until tomorrow's wedding?" I pinched Li Shu discreetly. Li Shu winced and snapped, "Stop dawdling. I said open the door. So open it." Hearing Li Shu's anger, Qin Chong dared not delay and hurriedly opened the door, seeing me draped over Li Shu's arm like a limp rag. He assumed we'd reconciled. "Lady Wang." I waved my handkerchief at Qin Chong. "Your master told me everything. His background is extraordinary. Our wedding can't be handled so casually. Prepare a carriage. I'm going into town to shop." Qin Chong glanced hesitantly at Li Shu. But I shot him a glare. "What? His word holds weight. But mine doesn't. I am your master's wife, to be wed by proper means." Hearing this, Qin Chong dared not delay. Soon, a carriage appeared at our courtyard gate. Li Shu and I climbed aboard and headed toward the bustling city center. After disembarking, I sent Qin Chong to park the carriage and forbade him from following. Qin Chong had no choice but to trail behind at a distance. I dragged Li Shu around, buying this and that, treating him to all sorts of delicious treats and fun things. The silly boy. Once he had something tasty, listened to everything I sighed. No fuss, no complaints. Seeing the time was right, I pulled him into the theater and reserved a private box. Sitting inside, Li Shu rubbed his eyes and said to me, "Sister-in-law, I'm sleepy. I want to sleep." I was bribing the theater owner with a large sum to disguise me and then send me out of the city by carriage. Hearing this, I stuffed a pastry into his mouth. You're not sleepy, don't you dare say that. I had someone bring strong tea and poured it down his throat. Aw, Shu isn't sleepy. As long as you don't sleep, sister-in-law will spoil you. Whatever you want to eat, sister-in-law will buy it for you. Okay. Though Li Shu's eyelids were drooping from exhaustion, he obediently replied, yes. I waited a while longer until the theater owner had everything arranged. Then, using the excuse of needing the restroom, I slipped out the back door. Before leaving, I cast one final glance at Li Shu. Xiao Zishu. This time, we truly part ways forever. I left the city in a carriage arranged by the troupe owner, fleeing to a rural area where I rented a small courtyard and shut myself away. On ordinary days, I only ventured out to buy groceries or sell embroidered goods. I heard only vague rumors. The eldest prince, lost among the common folk for 10 years, had been found. His character and talents far surpassed those of the other princes, earning him the deep affection of the emperor and empress. Another year passed. I heard the eldest prince led troops into battle, inflicting heavy losses on the enemy and achieving glorious military exploits. He was proclaimed crown prince and betrothed to the daughter of the left chancellor. While listening to the women in the courtyard gossip, I embroidered a belly band for the newborn child of Yunyang, the young wife next door. Yunyang gazed at the auspicious lotus pattern adorning the belly band and exclaimed with delight, Madam Wang, your hands are truly gifted. Speaking of which, your husband has been gone over a year now. Have you considered finding another? In my hometown, there's a cousin who possesses both outstanding character and remarkable looks. He would be a perfect match for you. Speaking of Yunyang's cousin, he was quite a figure in these parts. Rumor had it had returned from the battlefield, skilled in both scholarship and martial arts. Only because had stayed to care for his gravely ill widowed mother had he delayed marriage until 25. 3 years ago, his mother passed away. After handling the funeral and observing 3 years of mourning, he turned 28 and began considering marriage. But his standards were high. Ordinary village girls didn't meet his eye. Since Yunyang and I shared a close bond, she suggested me. I hadn't intended to agree, but hearing that cousin had come straight from the battlefield reminded me of my own eldest son. Unable to refuse, I consented. Yunyang's cousin Zhang was tall and sturdy, with a commanding presence, thick eyebrows, and large eyes. He was also remarkably straightforward. On our first meeting, he brought numerous gifts. I hear you're a widow, young and widowed. Your late husband also served on the battlefield. As comrades in arms, it's only right I care for the widow he left behind. Whatever you need, just ask. As long as you don't mind my age. And I don't mind that you've been married before. Cousin Zhang's frankness made me blush fiercely, thinking that Xiao Zishu would soon marry the legitimate daughter of the prime minister's household. Why couldn't I find another suitable partner? So I nodded and agreed to the marriage. Cousin Zhang was not a reckless man. He conducted himself with propriety and decorum, adhering strictly to the established rules and etiquette. He sent a matchmaker to our home, presenting the 3 letters and 6 rites of betrothal, along with over a dozen pieces of dowry. The wedding was set for 6 months hence. I selected the finest fabric to embroider my own wedding gown. My heart was set on marrying cousin Zhang, determined to be a devoted wife and mother. One day, while out shopping, I returned home to find cousin Zhang leaving our courtyard. Delighted, I called out, Henglang, why didn't you call me? But Zhang Hun looked at me with a complex expression. Lady Wang, I thought we were both unfortunate souls destined to support each other through life. I never imagined you were the long-lost daughter of the Prime Minister's household, betrothed to His Highness the Crown Prince. A rustic like me is unworthy of you. Our marriage is off. Consider those dowry items as Heng's gift to enhance your trousseau. Take care of yourself, my lady. May you find a worthy match, a harmonious union, and become a loving couple bound for a lifetime. So touching. It nearly brought me to tears. But what the hell is this about being the minister's legitimate daughter? And what's this about a betrothal to the crown prince? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Shang Hung pointed at my courtyard. Wife. Go see for yourself. With that, he took his leave. I turned and entered the room, only to find that scoundrel Xiao Zishu sitting inside. Not only had he brewed my tea and eaten my pastries, but had also lured away my fiancé. You. What are you doing here? Xiao Zishu snorted coldly. If I hadn't come, this prince's crown princess would have married that rustic peasant. Wang Qinghe. You have some nerve. You dare run from this palace's marriage. Do you believe I won't chop your lover into 10 or 8 pieces? I snapped. You dare. Hanglang and I have undergone the formal betrothal rites with 3 mediators and 6 exchanges. He's no lover's top slandering me with empty accusations. But what about you? Didn't you become crown prince and receive a royal match with the prime minister's daughter? Why seek me out now? Xiao Zishu scoffed, grabbing my hand and pulling me into his embrace. So you admit it at last. You claimed to have forgotten. Sister, have you returned like me? At this point, pretending held no meaning. I replied coldly, yes, I've lived again. If not for you, how could I have died? Xiao Zishu. You heartless, faithless wretch. We were so perfect together back then. But the moment you became crown prince, you turned your back on me. Not only did you marry another, you locked me up and forced me to drink poisoned wine. What wrong did I, Wang Qinghe, ever do to you? If you no longer wished to be with me, you could have simply let go. Why go so far as to take my life? Xiao Zishu sighed with a faint smile. Silly sister, I loved you more than my own life. I wouldn't even speak harshly to you. How could I ever harm you? You were buried at midnight. And by dawn I slit my throat to follow you. Imprisoning you in the dungeon and poisoning your wine neither was my doing. It was the work of my mother and the daughter of Minister Wang. Hearing this, I froze, raising my hand to touch his cheek. What? You died too? Xiao Zishu caught my hand and gave it a quick peck. I intended to follow you to the underworld, but instead, I reborn with you. But my sister is so heartless. Now that she's been given another life, she refuses to take me back. I protested. Even so, I'm of lowly birth. How could I ever be worthy of you, Your Royal Highness? I don't want any more ties to you. I won't risk my life again. Xiao Zishu replied. Not this time. Before I came, everything was arranged. The Wang clan is my mother's maternal family. She wants a Wang woman as crown princess. Since you bear the Wang surname, they'll give her family a long-lost legitimate daughter of the prime minister's household. It's all the same, any Wang woman can be crown princess. What difference does it make? Sister, endure this humiliation for now. Call the Wang family father, mother, and sisters. Once I ascend the throne, they'll deal with these audacious imperial relatives. Hearing this, I froze. What? You want me to become crown princess as the legitimate daughter of Minister Wang? Won't that drive the Wang family's daughter to her death? Xiao Zishu replied. She is your mortal enemy. In my past life, I slit my own throat rather than let her live. I subjected her to over 3,000 cuts of slow execution before finally letting her die. If she doesn't want to die again, she'd better not provoke you. Staring at Xiao Zishu before me, I was too stunned to speak. This killer is truly ruthless and merciless. If he can treat others like this, won't he treat me the same? As if reading my thoughts, Xiao Zishu covered my eyes and leaned down to kiss my eyelids. Sister, don't look at me like that. Don't fear me. Everything I do is for you. As long as you stay by my side obediently, they'll never treat you the way I treat others. Eek. Now I was even more terrified. But terrified or not, I had to return to the capital with him. I had to marry him as crown prince consort. Xiao Zishu, his remaining poison purged and his senses restored, clung to me like a ghost. On our wedding day, I left the Prime Minister's residence as the legitimate daughter, while the true heiress was so enraged her nose nearly twisted sideways. She tried to cause trouble several times, only to be dragged away by his parents' servants each time. My fake parents pulled me close and wept bitterly. My child, go with peace of mind. Serve His Highness the Crown Prince well from now on. The Prime Minister's residence will always be your home. I couldn't even be bothered to cry. Hurry up already. This is so annoying. The Empress was deeply displeased that her long-lost, most promising eldest son insisted on marrying me, a widow, as his consort. She had even schemed to arrange my supposed maternal lineage. During the tea ceremony, she deliberately made things difficult for me, just as expected of someone found outside the palace. So petty and lacking in proper etiquette. I wonder what my son sees in you. Such a sly, seductive manner, utterly improper. I immediately threw down the tea set. Who wants to be crown princess anyway? Xiao Zishu yanked me up from the floor. If Her Majesty has no desire for tea today, then so be it, crown princess. Accompany me back to the palace. You need never pay court to the Empress again. He dragged me away, leaving his mother behind to smash plates and shatter teacups in fury. Wicked child, following Xiao Zishu out. I couldn't resist sticking my tongue out at her over my shoulder. Tongue out, old hag. With a daughter-in-law like me, you're in for a treat. Your good days are just beginning. The story ends here. Thank you for watching. The next chapter promises even more excitement.